Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of the day it is. I am so happy you have stopped by today. We are out in the studio again today. The creative bug has literally hit after being cooped up for the holidays, and I'm ready to get on to the next project. And today I'm going to share with you how to find the upside in a downside situation. What do I mean by that? Let me explain. Now, the prequel to acquiring this piece was actually me buying it sight unseen. I bought it from a friend who actually said, oh, it's a nightstand. And I couldn't tell from the picture that it was anything other than a nightstand. And she didn't mention anything about any damage it might have. And it's very old. It was her great-great aunt's piece. And I said, how much do you want for it? She said $50. And I said, perfect, I will take it. When I went to pick it up, I was a little bit surprised to find that it's not, in fact, a nightstand. That's probably what she was using it for, but that's not what it is. Let me show you. This piece is really pretty with all of the details, the locking top drawer right there. Everything is original and it's definitely old. From here it looks really good. And what I didn't see is that right there. And what that is, this was a vanity. This was the right side to the vanity. You can see the damage there. That is where the bottom of the vanity would have connected over to the left side. So this is actually the right side. And this would have been for the mirror. It would have had a long mirror in the middle with two folding mirrors on either side. They would have locked into place here. The stopper would have held it straight, or you would be able to pull the mirror and angle it as a young woman so you could see yourself from every angle. Now, it wouldn't be a problem if this continued all the way over, but it doesn't. It stops. And in fact, there's a wonky little cutout, which is where the mirror would have sat. So the mirror would have sat against there, and it would have folded open, and you get the picture. So now I have to remove that top, come up with a way to repair this or cover this corner. I'm almost even tempted to cover it because I would love to showcase some wood on here. I think the wood is beautiful. I can see the detail through the damage, and I would love to bring this back. I kind of see it as the top wood, the drawer fronts wood. I don't even despise the pulls. The pulls are original to the piece. I mean, heck, maybe even that could be. That's a little ambitious. I don't know. I see potential in this piece going in many, many different directions. And for $50, I want to get the most bang for my buck using what I have. I love the pine cone details that go into the fluted columns. I even love the base. There's no maker's mark on this particular piece. Whoa, did you see that? Well, that just solved my problem. I literally went to grab this and tip it over, and it came right off. So, okay. Problem solved. So I guess the game plan in my head, again, is going to be some stain and some paint. But I want to see if the grain is what I think it's going to be. And the only way to do that is going to be to strip the top and see what we have. I'm just going to use some citrus strip. There are many, many products out there. And using a chip brush, I'm going to plaster it on the top, and I'm going to cover that with plastic wrap. Next, I'm going to remove the drawers and number them so I know which spot they go back in. And I'm going to get some stripper on each of these, again with plastic wrap on top. I had to crank up the heat out here to make sure that the citrus strip would work faster rather than slower. It does need to be warm. It can't work in the cold. And it took probably about 45 minutes. And then when I went in to scrape it, this is the satisfying part. I love how it pulls up right on top of the cellophane when I pull it off, and then scraping it with the plastic scraper is, oh, so satisfying. Even if you don't get all the finish off with the first try at it, you can still have a better idea of what the wood grain looks like, and I have to say, this is as beautiful as I thought it was going to be. When I'm stripping the furniture and scraping the old paint or stain off, I like to use a plastic scraper. I don't suggest using a metal one. It's way too easy to, like, gouge the wood, and you don't really wanna mess with it, especially with an antique, so always scrape with a plastic scraper. Go with the grain of the wood and get as much off as you can. Now, I do 2 more steps after this where I'm gonna go over this with denatured alcohol. That's gonna remove a lot of the stickiness and the yuckiness that's left behind from the citrus strip, and then I'm even going to go over that with mineral spirits. That's kinda like the insurance policy to make sure I did get all of the gunk off, because you don't wanna sand that gunk into the piece. It's just gonna ruin your sandpaper, it's gonna ruin the piece. You wanna make sure you get it all off. So my rule of thumb is the 3-step stripping rule, which is using a stripper, using denatured alcohol, and also using mineral spirits. And I mean, oh my lord, look at how beautiful this is. Like, this is gorgeous. I am so glad I am going this route, and I cannot wait to see this brought back to life. It's just, oh, this is going to be good. I'm going to use 100 grit sandpaper on it, nothing too harsh. And I just want to remove the little bit of blemish that is left from the original finish on here. Obviously, the stripper didn't get it all off, but it did a fabulous job, and my sanding is gonna be to a minimum, thank God, because the color of this dust is awful. Anyways, I wanna see what this looks like, so I'm gonna sand it, and then I'm going to bring the grain out by using water. It's so easy. All you have to do is spritz water on a cloth, get it nice and damp, wipe it over your project, and you'll really see what the grain looks like, because I want to see it from all sides. I want to make sure that this thing flows like a waterfall over each edge and it just looks like a gorgeous, completed, solid piece of wood, which pretty sure it is. What do you guys think? Look at that. Look at that beautiful grain. Hard work pays off. That looks so much better. I did the exact same process on the drawers. First, I scraped them with my plastic scraper. Then I went over that with the denatured alcohol, got all the gunk off, and then I went further with the mineral spirits to really make sure it was all off. Then I gave them a good sanding. I took the lip, if you will, off the front of it. You'll see it kinda has a little lip of a detail, and I didn't want that on the drawer anymore. I wanted it to be flat, so I intentionally sanded that off and just made it smooth, and these drawers are going to be gorgy Georgie. They already are. Like, this is an amazing, amazing grain on all of the pieces that I'm working on, and I am so excited to really see this come back to life. I decided to cut out the top right corner so it'll match the top left corner, how it kind of divots in like that. I measured it out and used a hand saw, just made my cuts, and then I went back in with my surf prep and I rounded out that sharp corner. And I think it looks really, really good. I think this was the best decision for fixing that problem area. Instead of trying to fix something, let's embrace it and go with it. And it just works. Okay. I can totally see my vision. I know exactly what I want to do. I am going to work around the damage and work the damage into the design. And it is going to be fabulous. But the first thing I need to start with is the back legs. I want to strip down the finish. So I'm going to put some more stripper on those as well, really slather it on there, and then also wrap them in cellophane. I'm gonna sand the side that used to have the bottom piece connecting it to the left side. I'm gonna make sure that's all nice and smooth, and then I'm gonna mix up some of my Bondo wood filler, and I'm gonna actually put a whole strip of it filling this entire area in. There is a difference in height. It's like the depth of a fingernail, but it's still there. So putting Bondo on the whole area is the best solution because I can sand it to a perfectly smooth surface that's totally ready for paint. I need to fix the side piece here. This is where the mirror would have slid in, so it's actually kind of missing this level of wood, if you will. But it just so happens that I have these little trim pieces, and they aren't that much wider than the original piece, and they're going to work perfectly there. I'm going to be able to attach them and then sand them down, fill it in. You'll never know it was there. Paint over it. It's going to look absolutely beautiful. But this is the best way, again, using what I have to solve this problem and have it not be a problem. When the stripper had processed on the legs, it was time to get it off, and I wasn't sure what the best way was going to be. So I did start out with my plastic scraper, but this is a round surface. The leg is just completely round, and it was kinda doing it, but not fast enough. I would have been here all night. So I got myself a cup of water and I busted out my little detailed wire brushes and I started scrubbing them. Now, this does get messy and it can get super mucky. So you want to make sure you have something on the ground that it can drip on, which I do. And I just kind of do it in sections, one piece at a time, one leg at a time, one mess at a time, and it works really good. Just gonna wipe that off really quick with a rag, and then I'm gonna take the denatured alcohol on my steel wool, and I'm using double yacht steel wool. If you don't know what that is the 4 zeros. That is the finest grit you can get. And here's something I bet you didn't know. You can use double yacht steel wool to totally polish up your mirrors to a super high shine. And then I'll go back at it with mineral spirits and really clean it off before sanding it some. My surf prep is really powerful and I don't want to use too much of it on the legs. So definitely going to have to go over it again with another application of the stripper, but it's going to all come off easier this time. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 times to get all of the original finish off the project you're working on. And if you're going to do it right. Don't do it half ass. Take the time, sand it. I hate sanding. I can't. Ugh. I hate sanding, but it is necessary. I'm going to start the process again. Only this time I'm going to get it on the front. I want to get the stripper starting from the pine cones all the way down to the feet. I want to strip these pieces entirely. This is definitely going to take 2, possibly even 3 applications of the stripper, especially in the details of the pine cone. I don't want to sand this very much at all. I am going to sand a little bit of it, obviously, but when it comes to the pine cone area and stuff, I'm going to be super careful and rely on the stripper and my wire brushes to do the work for me. So that way I'm not damaging the look, the shape, and all of the details that the pine cones have. I'm going to go back to the back legs that I did already strip, and I'm going to reapply the stripper on there on the spots where there's still some of the original finish. I'm going to plop it on really good and again wrap that in cellophane and let it sit. And hopefully, this will be enough to get it all off of those back feet. But if not, I'll be going in for the third time. I'll have to wait and see though. Hopefully, just 2. After about 45 minutes, I started back on the back legs. I kind of want to leave that stripper on the front part as long as possible. So I'm going to start with the back legs that have already been done once. Same process. I'm going to scrub it with the wire brush, go over that with the denatured alcohol on the yacht steel wool, and then go over that with the mineral spirits on the steel wool. And they came out really, really good. Next up is the fronts turn, and I wanted to start from the bottom and work my way up. I kind of did it in sections, like 3 sections. So there was the bottom, the middle, and then the top. And I did each section in the same 3 steps: the brush, the denatured alcohol, and then the mineral spirits. And I really found that this was the best way not only to get the job done, but also keep the mess really to a confined minimum, which made me super happy because this can be really, really messy, and it wasn't by breaking it up. Now, the brushes did help. I got a lot off, but I'm absolutely going to have to go back at these again with another thick coat of stripper. But before I do that second layer of stripper, I actually want to sand the sides. I want to level off that piece of wood that I added as the trim board there, get that as even as possible. I want to do the sides. Maybe I just need to break it up for myself because I'm getting bored with doing it. But you just have to keep telling yourself it is worth it. When you're doing work like this, it's not as fast as just painting a piece. It does take a hot minute to get it done. But in the end, it's just totally worth it. Wait and see. You haven't seen it yet. I know what it looks like, and it is mind blowing. It really is a stunning, stunning transformation that absolutely does this piece justice. All right, that is after the second stripping. It came out really good. I'm not worried about that that's going to get painted. I am super excited to see this together. It's going to look so gorgy Georgie. I am so excited. I can't wait. I really can't. I cannot wait to see this. I'm going to use the Beyond paint in Licorice again. One, because I have it. Two, because it's really a great durable paint to use. And three, because that is part of the vision. That's the color that I see. And now is when it starts to really come together. All of the hard work has been worth it to get to this point. With Beyond Paint, you want to use a brush to get into those details and those areas that a roller can't, but it's best to use a roller to apply the finish on there. I use the ultra fine nap, that's like the mirror finish roller, and I absolutely love it. I ended up doing 3 coats onto this piece. I did not use a primer. You don't have to when you're using Beyond Paint, and with all the other prep and cleaning and sanding I've done, I'd rather just put a few coats of the Beyond Paint on than to deal with primer, to be perfectly honest. So a few coats of the Beyond Paint, and then it was time to start staining these pieces, and I am so excited to see this. I'm going to use my go-to gel stain, which is the Old Masters in the Natural Walnut. I want to use the dark stain up against the black. That's how I envision it, and I think it's going to take really well to the wood. I'm using a brush to apply it into the detailed areas of the pine cones, the columns. I want to make sure it gets in there completely, and then I'm just going to wipe it off. I'm not going to give it another coat, just one on everything. I really like the tone of this stain against the black. I think that this is looking absolutely sophisticated, traditional, timeless. And now it's time to put some stain on the top, which is like the best part because look at this grain. Absolutely scrumptious. Once the piece was completely dry, I went to my stain marker set and I need to try to match this divot that's here that I filled in. This was actually underneath the back piece that I took off. I did add stainable putty to it, but you can still obviously see that there's a difference. And I'm hoping that just matching it back and forth with my markers, I'll be able to hide it a little bit better. This is only my second attempt at it, but if you do take your time, I mean, it can look way better. I applied 2 coats of clear shellac, allowing it to completely dry in between coats, and also sanding it with a 600 grit sandpaper. Makes all the difference. It takes that grain that's lifted up from the paint and all the work and really gives you a silky smooth surface. It's an absolute game-changing step that you cannot skip in this process, as far as I'm concerned anyways. The drawers were in amazing shape inside and out, so I didn't do anything to the sides or the inside as far as staining. All they got was a good cleaning, and I went over them again with Restore Finish just to shine them back up, bring them back to life. I used the original hardware. I did contemplate, should I stain it? Should it be black? I decided to try it first black, and I love it. I love the contrast of the black color against the grain and the tone of that wood. I think it was the perfect choice for this. And then I wanted to go just a little step further and do something special to the insides of the drawers. The bottoms weren't bad, but I mean, I didn't want to paint them. I wanted to make them new again. And the best way to do that is with a gorgeous, dreamy velvet. Before I get to the reveal, let's take another look at the before. Again, this was the right side of a 1920s antique mahogany vanity. It did have a little damage. It did require a little bit of repair. The finish was original and really old. As you can see, it's worn, but the potential is there. I can see the potential in this piece from the details to the curves to the legs. Every bit of it I saw what this piece could become. And I knew with a little bit of time and elbow grease, using things I already had, I could turn this piece from gloom to glam in a gorgeous, traditional, and sophisticated way. And I think I nailed it right on the head. You'll have to let me know what you guys think, but now let's get to the reveal. This piece now shines like it was meant to. I think it came out fabulous. I wish there was another one. I wish I had a set of these, but this is perfect as a bedside table. This would be perfect next to a big old comfy chair. Ample storage inside. The finish is absolutely delicious. I love the colors. I love how it looks. I love how it came out. And if you love this transformation, give this video a thumbs up. That tells me that you enjoy seeing content like this. And trust me, I have so much more to share with you guys. So be sure you're subscribed. Thanks for watching, guys. And I will see you next time on the flip side. Bye.